Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and you are now in the hub of fun when it comes to paranormal entertainment and live shows. I hope this is the pinnacle. Now, for those of you that are on YouTube, you're seeing something different on the screen. And I decided, well, it's something Don and I had done every once in a while in the years past, and I thought, it might be kind of fun to do it on the live show. I'm here tonight. It's just you and I, so we're it. I have no co-host tonight, but what I'm doing is I'm running a ghost radar currently on the screen. We'll see if anybody's popping in and visiting. So for those of you on YouTube, I'm going to go out. I'm going to kind of spell out what you're looking at here. In this section of the screen, this is the radar. If you see dots appear, those are supposed to be energies present. Now, a lot of people say, oh, those ghost apps don't work. Well, here's the thing. EMF is often used in paranormal research because it's believed that spirits give off an EM field. And so actually what maybe a lot of people don't know is every cell phone, every wireless device has a magnetometer. And so what this app does is it uses the magnetometer to look for any EM anomalies in that field of the wireless projection. So that'll also be the graph over here, the graph that you're seeing. I don't remember what the top one does. I guess it's pulse energy and wave sensor is over here. So the pulse energy on top, wave sensor on the bottom, and then down here is apparently a word processor. I don't know. I've never really gotten anything specific enough that I thought it was relevant in the words that generate from this thing, but I got to tell you that Don felt something walk through him at the same time as something appeared on this ghost radar coming this way, which is, right over there where Don sits. And it's something passed through and he felt it go through his body. He's like, ooh, he got the willies. So, is it true or not? I don't know, but just thought it'd be a fun experiment for us here on the show. And hopefully you guys like that. But we got a lot of things to get to. We are broadcasting on the network tonight. Welcome TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. Good to hear from you guys. Good to have you here. And, of course, welcome to our YouTube audience and all of our wonderful mods who are here to keep things rolling smooth. But we'll see if anything pops up. Oh, that's my mouse, if you're seeing that. So I was like, what's that dot up there? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I left my mouse over there. So now it's clear. It should be, if anything gets detected, we should see it. And so we'll find out. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing, but I thought it'd be just kind of fun to have that up throughout the course of the show because God only knows how many times weird things have happened in the studio, how many cold chills I've felt as I've done this show. Things like that I have to regularly sage and smudge my house just because I don't want any buildup of weirdness around here because this is also where I live. So, but anyway, we got a lot to get to tonight. We are going to get to the news, of course, coming up next. And then later after the break, we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. And it's kind of a follow-up from last night's show where we talked about skinwalkers. And a question occurred to me, and I was like, I'm curious what people think. So I put it up there and got some great responses. So we'll check that out. And on the other side of the hour break, then we'll go to some other weirdness, and then we'll head to the Cryptid Corner to round out the show. So all kinds of amazing stuff on the roster tonight. Hopefully you're here and in it for the long haul with me. But I guess without further ado, remember the phone lines are open if anybody's got anything paranormal they want to share. I would just ask that you wait till after the news because I'm so engrossed over here that I can't see the call board over here and I don't have enough real estate on my screens to move it. So I need bigger screen. I probably need like a big screen, ultra high definition screen here. I think the minions hollering upstairs. So anyway, we're going to get to the news next. I hope you guys are ready. Hopefully I'm going to inform you and make you just fill you full of news. Well, let's see how I do. All right, hang on. We're going into the news. ladies and gentlemen. All right. Here we are. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. And yes, the ghost radar's here too. It's right there. Whoops, where am I pointing? Here it is. There it is right there. So you can see it. If anything pops up, we'll know about it. We'll know. So we'll see what happens. All right, so here we go. Thank you, Ruthie. Yeah, don't forget the big like button. That would be nice. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, ladies and gentlemen, as I've curated a whole bunch of stories for your news enjoyment. Hopefully they'll be wildly informative, and you're going to leave here just knowing so much more than you came. But at the very least, you're going to know something you didn't know when you came. Either way, that's the objective of the news. So the first story up tonight is one these have been kind of making the rounds for a couple of years now on the internet, and I think a lot of them are optical illusions. I'm not sure about this one. This is just a photo, so not sure what we're looking at here. But anyway, from unexplained-mysteries.com, please check them out. Great site, amazing site. Just they do wonderful work over there. Hopefully you guys will support them and go check it out, because there's so much more on their site than we could ever cover on this show. So here's the story. Glitch in the Matrix as dead bird is filmed motionless in the air. And there's the dead bird just kind of sitting there, I guess. Multiple witnesses have recorded footage of a bird just lying there in the sky, apparently not attached to anything. The peculiar incident, which occurred in Surrey, British Columbia, on the afternoon of February 18th, made local news headlines and left numerous witnesses scratching their heads. Multiple video clips taken from different angles show the bird, which appear to be dead, lying motionless in midair next to some overhead cables, but there's nothing attached to it. Puzzled onlookers walked around and peered up at the spectacle, unable to explain what they were seeing. That's a dead bird, and it's just floating in the air. No strings, no nothing, said one witness. There's absolutely nothing we could see with the human eye that was holding it or attached to it. Very weird and eerie. Literally, it looked like a dead bird just floating. Arguably, however, there must be something keeping the bird up there. Given the proximity of trees and telegraph wires. Telegraph wires? What is this, the 1800s? Who the hell uses telegraph wires anymore? Well, up here we use them, but they're called internet now. I would suggest some kind of invisible suspension material, such as fishing lines, involved, rather than a glitch in an incomplete reality, said geography professor Paul Kingsbury of Simon Fraser University. It was certainly mysterious, perhaps paranormal, but captivating as well, almost reminiscent of an artwork, a kind of impromptu Bansky paranormal moment, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, I would bet it's probably, I don't know, maybe it was a bird that was too close to water when somebody's fishing. It caught a hook, got tangled, and made it over the wires, and then couldn't make it any further. I don't know. I mean, most likely that's what's going on. I mean, we just generally don't see things just suspended in the air. Sorry, I needed a drink. But whatever the case, let's take a look at the video. For those of you on YouTube, you can see this. I'm going to mute it. From Glacier Media Group. It's a news group, and they're putting up the video. There's the bird. It's just, yeah, it is just kind of sitting there. Interestingly enough, it doesn't look like there's much above it that it could be suspended from, though. That's what I would expect, it is that there would be wires above it. But according to this image, this thing is actually above the wires in the air, suspended somehow. Well, let's get that out of the way. I don't know how. I guess I'm pretty perplexed. Wasn't expecting to look quite like this. It just looks like it's hanging there, unless it's something that's suspended between the two trees, or between the power lines and the tree. I don't know. It's very curious. Whatever the case is, I don't pretend to know, but it is odd. What is it? I don't know. Actually, the video is much more puzzling than I was expecting. I was just expecting it to be dangling below the wires with an unseen suspension. And I was thinking it must be like a light grade fishing line or something like that just wouldn't be readily visible without some, directional lighting at different angles that might cast a sheen on it. Otherwise, it's absolutely transparent. So I don't know. That's very interesting. So whatever it is, that is a bizarre one because it's actually above the lines according to that video. So you be the judge. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. That one eludes me. But anyway, let's continue. There must be something more in frame that we can't quite see, but I don't know. Or out of frame, rather. But that's the first story of the night. The next one up on the newscast is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is, this one's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought this, but it is interesting. It says from unexplained-mysteries.com, New York flotsam thought to be from 200-year-old shipwreck. Wow, so there's stuff washing up on shore. It looks like old boards and stuff, and it might be from a 200-year-old shipwreck. Debris found in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Ian is now thought to be a piece of the long-lost SS Savannah. At a glance, the piece of 4-meter-wide wreckage that was spotted off the coast of Fire Island, New York, back in October could easily be mistaken for any random debris washed out to sea by the storm, but now maritime experts are claiming that this unassuming flotsam is, in fact, a piece of a ship that ran aground and sank all the way back in 1821. The SS Savannah was a particularly noteworthy vessel because it was a hybrid sailing ship and side-wheel steamer, which has also happened to be the first steamship to cross the Atlantic. Sadly, despite its success, the ship was lost when it broke apart off Long Island just 2 years later. If this flotsam did indeed come from the Savannah, it would be a significant discovery indeed. Evidence in the form of wooden pegs consistent with a vessel of the correct size, coupled with iron spikes used in shipbuilding at the time of the Savannah was built, was found by analyzing the debris. It was pretty thrilling to find, said Betsy DeMaria, a museum technician at the Park Service's Fire Island National Seashore. Excuse me. We definitely are going to have some subject matter experts take a look at it and help us get a better view of what we have here. Well, there you go. Could be some debris. Cough. Dang it. So it might be a shipwreck. Yay, frogs. Ugh. I tell you what, I need to be done with winter so bad. Oh, God help me. I'm not built for it anymore. I'm just not. Good Lord. All right. Let's go to the next story, and this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is this is new. Yeah, this is new. Hold on. I'm so sorry. God dang it. I took cough medicine and everything. Just doesn't matter. It's that itchy kind of cough. It's just horrible. I think it has to do with just how dry everything is. It's just sucking the water right out of me. Ugh. And apparently putting in my lungs. All right, so why the hell is this ad there? Jesus. Let's get that out of the way if I can. Can I? Nope, I can't do a thing with it. Let's refresh it and see if it lines better. There we go. Excuse me. Here it is from unexplained-mysteries.com. This one I think is interesting because, of course, there is a lot of speculation that there is still an undiscovered hominid or hominoid in Indonesia on some of the islands there. Of course, there's a long-standing legend of something called the Orang Pendek, which means Orang is Indonesian for people and Pendek is little. So little people that have been claimed by remote villagers for generations. They're seeing these strange little hairy people that actually they seem to kind of run like orangutans. Apparently they put their hands above their heads and just kind of ooh and run away. But they seem very skittish. But of course, everybody's familiar with the discovery of the fossil remains of the Homo floresiensis, which is discovered to be an previously unknown primate or hominid that did live on the Indonesian island some time ago. But there is so much more with ongoing claims and research into this Orang Pendek. And the question is, are they one and the same? Are these Homo floresiensis still persisting as a viable life form in the Indonesian islands. So let's look into this. The ape men of Flores, could Homo floresiensis still be alive today? It says there have been multiple sightings of small humanoids on the island of Flores in Indonesia over the last few decades. Evidence of the mysterious hobbits of Flores, an island in Indonesia, was first unearthed in a cave back in 2003, a discovery that would go on to become the topic of much controversy and debate. Named Homo floresiensis, the pint-sized hominids are now believed to be previously undiscovered species of human which died out sometime around 60,000 years ago. Retired anthropology professor Gregory Forth of the University of Alberta, however, believes that stories of a mysterious ape man on the island could be evidence that these real-life hobbits continue to survive on the island against all odds, all the way up to the present day. In a recent interview with The Debrief, Forth cites numerous cases of encounters the local people on the island have had with small humanoids that have come to be known as Laihoa. I don't know that word. Such accounts were so numerous and compelling, in fact, that he started to seek out and document them. Particularly intriguing was the fact that many of these stories dated back to before the discovery of Homo floresiensis fossils on the island. Also, unlike many of the other stories of unknown hominids around the world, such as Bigfoot and the Yeti, which are said to be very tall, the ape men of Flores were always described as small in stature. They stress that it resembles humans insofar as it stands upright and it walks bipedally, Forth told The Brief. They say the face looks, well, I would say ape-like, but they say monkey-like because they don't make a distinction between monkeys and apes. So could the island's inhabitants be encountering a living fossil, a species of human that has held against all odds, or have they been seeing something else? Without physical evidence, it's impossible to know for sure. Yeah, I really think that that's probably a continuation of these hobbits, and I don't know. I've had discussions with I can't remember who it was. Was it Dr. Meldrum or someone in the past, and asked them if they felt that they are one and the same, that the orang pendek is actually the surviving Homo floresiensis, and that person, whoever that was, I don't remember who it was that I was interviewing, didn't think so. But I don't know, how many diminutive ape-like things could there be out there? Well, maybe a bunch, but I don't know. On a small islands and such in Indonesia, I can't imagine there's a huge, spectrum of this fauna around. But anyway, who knows? But that's interesting. I think they are there. I just don't know, when they'll be discovered. Who can tell? Who can tell, folks? All right, so let's go to the next story here, and this is, so far we got a pretty quiet night here in the studio. Nothing's chirping. Nothing's tripping the alarms. There's not really alarms, but it will sometimes make noise, like sounds like the creepiest noise. If you hear a creepy noise, it means something's appeared on the radar, and it really is a creepy noise. I used to run it on a laptop sitting here in the studio, not really on the same setup, but we'll see how this works. But we're going to go into the archives now for some weird stories, because we've kind of burned through most of the catalog of what we had available in the last 2 nights of shows, but we got 6 minutes left, so we can get through a few of these, because these are generally very brief. Again, from unexplained-mysteries.com, a pensioner kept mother in freezer for 30 years. That's pretty creepy. That's just a whole bucket full of creepy. Let's see what he says. This is from May 28th, 2009. A pensioner from southeast London kept the body of her deceased mother in a freezer for close to 30 years. Upon her mother's death, she was thought to have panicked about getting in trouble for having her in the country illegally. An elderly woman stored her mother's body in a freezer for up to 30 years. It must have been a hell of a freezer to run for 30 years. My God. It was revealed today Dualat Irani's mother was found wrapped in bin bags and stored in a freezer in the garage of her home in Sidcup, southeast London. Wow, I wonder how that all worked out. There's no updates since then, so I don't know. That's still pretty disturbing. I mean, you don't want to keep your people's remains around just because, immigration. Well, what are they going to do, deport her? I mean, she's dead, so just give her a proper burial, my God. That's a little disturbing, folks. But, yeah, this is maybe something you didn't know before. Now you know. You're welcome. Sorry you can't unhear it, I'm sure. All right, let's go to the next one, and this is another one from the archives of unexplained-mysteries.com. Jesus. From 2009, April 20th. Woman shot in the head makes tea. What? All right, police called to the home of an American woman who was shot through the forehead by her husband were astonished when they found that the woman was not only alive, but had made herself a cup of tea. Wow. She got a thick skull or what else is going on there? An American woman who was shot in the head by her husband not only survived, but made herself a cup of tea. Police and doctors hailed the survival of Tammy Sexton, 47, as miraculous after a bullet from a .38 caliber handgun struck her squarely in the forehead, passed through her skull, and exited through the back of her head. Oh, my God. That poor woman. Wow. I can only hope it was an accidental discharge. Like, oops, that went off. I don't know. I was just cleaning it. My God, you hope that he didn't actually draw a gun on his wife, for God's sakes. But in any case, she lived. That's bizarre because any time you get a puncture to the head of any kind, it bleeds horribly. I mean, we have all these micro vessels in our head that, are pumping tons of blood to keep our brains nourished and stuff. And anytime something makes a hole through that, it's usually a pretty much a death sentence. So, wow, miraculous is right. Ay, that's creepy. Well, I'm glad she made it. Hope she went on to live a wonderful life. I hope she's still out there somewhere making tea. That's horrible, though. My God. All right, let's go to the next one. I might have to go get scanned myself. These kind of stories creep me out. And the fact that I have this long-term cough due to my asthma versus the dry air of the winter time just aggravates the hell out of me. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why I really don't like winters, because I don't have a real strong respiratory system anyway. But when it's all dry and cold and stuff, man, it just kicks my tail. So this person, however, had a much stranger thing happening. With 2 minutes left, this might be the last one we get to. Unexplainedmysteries.com from April 16, 2009. Surgeons find a fir tree inside a man's lung. What? A tree is growing. I suppose it's wet and would germinate just fine with all that mucus and stuff. But dear God, a tree growing in your lung? Bet you felt a lot better after that was taken out. A man suffering from chest pains and coughing up blood in Russia this week was found to have what appeared to be a tumor in his lung. When surgeons operated, they found a 5-centimeter fir tree growing inside of him. I hope he kept it and put it in a pot or something. That is incredible. Shocked Russian surgeons claim they found a 5-centimeter fir tree growing inside a man's lungs as they operated on him for suspected cancer. The amazing discovery apparently was made when they opened up Artyom Sidorkin, 28, to remove what they thought was a serious tumor. Well, it was just not cancerous. It was a fir tree tumor. Jeez, that's incredible. Pulled a fir tree out of his lungs. I bet you he felt tons better after that. I can't imagine. I know how the dry air just makes my lungs tickle. What would a fir tree in your lung feel like? My God, that's horrifying. All right, let's continue. Actually, we're just going to be done now. So let's close out the news, and we'll be right back after these messages, folks. Don't go away.
Leaders must be good students of ability, their ability, and the people that are in their charge, their influence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're in the second half hour of the show tonight. Hi, K-Love. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. And no, the show's not over. It's just the first break. We hit the first break so far. We just got through the news, and there's so much more to come. So much more to come. Now, If you're just joining us, you're just popped in and you're like, what the hell's on the screen? Well, let me tell you what this is. All right, so this is a ghost radar app. It's one that I've had for years and years and years and years and years, and it does a good job, I think. I've always thought the results were pretty compelling. At least, maybe there's something to it. This is long before the more commercialized apps and all the shenanigans started. This was one of the very first ones, and it's called, what the hell is it called? X Paranormal Detector, and this one's an old version, but it still works. Now, again, I know ghost detectors as a whole generally get scoffed at, and maybe rightfully so. I don't know that I would rely on it as a standalone of evidence, but again, I said this at the lead into the show, that essentially every phone, every wireless communicating device has what's called a magnetometer, and that is very much similar to an EMF detector in that it will detect EMF anomalies and signatures, and sometimes they become transient, and that's unusual. So the only thing with magnetometers on wireless devices is that their viewable spectrum, the spectrum of EMF that they can detect, is pretty narrow. It's not as robust as, let me see if I can grab one here. I don't know what I got, where it is or what I got here, but I've got a K2 meter, and it really does a pretty good job. You know, the other thing I was thinking is once in a while we could set up the portal. That's a detection. That's that creepy noise. I don't know if you guys heard it. Probably not on TFR, but you heard it here. I'm just digging through my ghost stuff that I use on investigations, and maybe I brought something with me. Now, do you see that surge in the bandwidth? That shows you that it detected that anomaly of EMF through the magnetometer. Now, is that definitive? No. But it's certainly an indicator that something changed, something that was anomalous. And so I think that that's in and of itself is, at least when you're investigating for ghosts and stuff, you don't rely on just one thing. It's best to have many methods used. Temperature, EM is another one. It's actually EM field, because EMF stands for electromotive force, I think, but it's been misused for so long that everybody knows what you're talking about. Or electromagnetic force. I can't remember, but I'm just looking for my K2 meter, because we could also set that up maybe somewhere within camera shot and see if that also shows some anomalies, because that might be cool. You know, just to look, just to see. I think it's in the front here. Yep, here it is. Here's my K2. This is a K2 meter. I'm sure you've seen them on many of the ghost shows and stuff. Now, interestingly enough, I think that would have put the anomaly it detected back in the corner, back here by that black drape, according to that radar, because it's kind of reversed. What you're seeing on the screen is kind of reversed to what it's actually reading in the directions that it's reading. So if it points to north or in the north sector, that's going to be basically on the other side of this room, behind the camera. Anything in the south hemisphere of that circle will be around me. So that's kind of interesting. So I don't know. Maybe I can set up this K2 meter on screen as well. Okay, so it says it was a high flux detected. So that was a pretty powerful signature that it detected. Not just something little tiny and insignificant. Let me see, where can I put this? I don't know if I should put it somewhere. I don't want to get it close to this stuff, because with EMF detectors, you have to be careful, because sometimes things like K2s can even go off if a car starts out on the road. So they can be extraordinarily sensitive, and you can get a lot of false positives with these. I'm not getting anything back here, so I'll set it. God, it's probably going to tip over. I got too much junk back here. Maybe. Yeah, now it's picking up the TV, and all that stuff, so I can't set it there. Maybe I can set it like this. Okay, we'll see how that goes. It's leaning against the globe there. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, but it's only got the green indicator now showing it's unpowered, so try in front of skull. Yeah, there's really not much of a ledge there. It kind of drops right off, so I don't think there's room. I think that'll work, and you guys can see it. If you see that flashing behind me, let me know. But that, along with the ghost detector, I mean, that's two methodologies that are being used now just to see if something stops by, some energy is present. Again, if it's on the screen and it's on the deep left of that circle, like if it's more than just a couple of squares away, if it's more than like here away, that's actually going to be outside. This would be outside because there's a wall right next to me over here, which is opposite to what you're seeing on the screen. But it's over here, and it's literally just a couple of feet from the edge of this circle, this inner circle. So anything over here is probably going to be outside, but I think that anomaly, as I recall, was right about here. So that would put that right in that corner back here somewhere. So I just thought it'd be kind of fun because weird things happen in the studio kind of consistently, actually. So not regularly, but odd enough times. I've had things fall over in here as I'm doing shows. Cold, tingly feelings. I don't know. There's weird technological issues and that weird recorded voice that spits out every once in a while. This is not a valid menu item, which I have no idea where that's coming from. I don't know what's going on. But, it's just one of those things. So we're going to try this out, and just for fun, just for another layer of interest and intrigue into our show. What if something comes in? So you guys are going to watch this with me. I thought it'd be kind of like investigating live as we're doing the show. So top left of the radar, Brent. What is it? Top left. Was there something popped up again? I don't see anything. Okay. Chucky says, all right, well, just keep watching it. She has a nice voice for Biz Bossy, the menu lady. Yeah, she does. I think it might have something to do with Skype. And if that's the case, it's, just quirky, but it's sometimes just the combination of weird things. Like it could be a cold draft and then suddenly this is not a menu item. And I don't call attention to it all the time because it seems a little convenient to be doing a paranormal show and look, there's ghostly stuff. It almost seems comical, and I don't ever want to try to say, "Ooh, look at how weird everything is." I'm not one of those people, but it happens enough that I think that when you talk about this stuff, you are creating a magnetism for it. Like maybe these things become aware of you. Maybe it's not. There's an old saying: if you name a demon, you're calling it to you. If you talk about skinwalkers, you're calling them to you. Well, maybe it's the same for all of this stuff. That even when you talk about people, you're summoning them. How many people has that happened to? Where, you're talking about somebody and then your phone rings and, oh, it's them. Those kind of things happen. And perhaps things do get called to us when we start discussing them. Maybe that's the nature of this reality. That's the energetic nature of it. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun to put this out here and just see if anything pops off. So I'll do my best to keep an eye on it. We'll see what goes on. We can watch the Ouija board too. Now the Ouija board is actually nailed there and the planchette is glued. So that is not going to move anywhere. If that does move, I got bigger problems. I'm gonna have to hang up and do some serious cleansing. If that starts moving. So nothing should move on that Ouija board. However, if it does, it's been that way for literally about a year now or better. And so I don't think it's probably going to move. If it does, then that would be incredibly unusual. So, and again, I'm not really big on investigating my own spaces because I think that sometimes by investigating them, you're almost giving an acquiescence to them and whatever them is. And I don't pretend to know. It could be loved ones stopping by, supporting what I'm doing. It could be things that don't like me stopping by, not happy about what I'm doing. I don't know. But forgot where I was going with that train of thought. But, I do think that we call these things, whether consciously or unconsciously, just by discussing them. So we'll see what happens. I'm not trying to propagate activity in my house. So after this is done tonight, I'll probably be smudging the house anyway, just because I don't want to let anything in and, oh yeah, come on in, say hi, so I can show it on the show, because I'm not that in love with clicks and stuff and the success of my show at the expense of my family. So anyway, we'll just see what happens. I just thought it'd be a fun change to try something different during these live shows. And if you guys enjoy it, we can do it every show. We can have this ghost radar up on screen and just monitor it throughout the course of the show. It did one detection tonight so far. Is it valid? Well, maybe. Again, that magnetometer range is very narrow on wireless devices. So, but whatever it was a potent anomaly. It's like when they show up in red, like big red balls like that, that's a pretty big energy change. Littler balls are lighter energy. Bigger and darker colored balls are much more intense. So that's what's supposed to be being demonstrated there. So something might have popped in, and you were here for it. All right, so next up, we're going to go to another part of the show that I really love doing, and there's the ghost radar again. We're going to keep it on screen so you guys can see it. I don't know if you can see the K2 meter now, but it's there somewhere behind me, maybe off screen a little bit. But I'll try to figure out a better place to mount that, and so we can keep a better eye on it. But let's not do that. Let's do that. Okay, so we are going to go to the next segment of our show, which is the Discord question of the week. So I hope you guys are ready, because we're going to get all Discordy right now. All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Discord question of the week. Again, this is our Discord server that you're seeing on the screen now, and these are the people that belong to it are all over here on the left side, both active and inactive, whether they're online. If you're offline, you'll appear down here in this mess of people, and if you're online, you'll appear up here on the top. And you don't always have to be on our channel, but you're just on Discord somewhere. And so it appears over here. And so this is the question of the week segment, which is a newer thing we've been doing on the show for a few months now, a couple months anyway, but where I ask a paranormal question to our Discord audience and they weigh in on it. Now, I said at the lead into the show that this was kind of continuation to the last one, last night's show, because we were talking about skinwalkers. And it was basically around an article we covered from Sasquatch Chronicles that said that's not a direwolf. Two kids that were up in Washington State near Snake Lake or something like that, saw and were tracking two young mountain lions as they were going along, and they came across this old kill. And they saw where the mountain lions were gnawing on it and stuff, but then the mountain lion tracks took off as if they were bolting. They were just out of there. Boom, gone. And they were wondering what was going on. And then they started hearing some noises and such. And so they crawled up over the ridge line that they were near, and off in the plateau on top of that next ridge, they saw this enormous wolf. And as they're watching it, it's kind of sitting there, and it drifted. They said the way it moved was it almost seemed like it was slithering. It was just a really odd kind of movements. And then as they watched, they saw it reach up and grab a tree with an opposable thumb. One of the hands reached up, grabbed a tree with an opposable thumb, and then it pulled itself up, and it stood on its back legs. And it was about 6 feet tall or better as they watched it. And then it just kind of smelled the air and looked around and kind of took off. But they knew that they had seen what they thought was a dire wolf initially, or some kind of large wolf. Then they thought it was something else, like a dog man. And then I thought, well, at 6 feet tall, what if it was a skinwalker? Because skinwalkers are believed to be able to transform into wolves. as well. It's not just coyotes or dogs. And they can transform. The shamanistic traditions talk about transforming into many different things, including elk and deer and, large and small animals, bear, so perhaps it was something like that. But the question I had was as follows. For tonight's show, question of the week, Friday show, what? Whoops. I was actually on an old one there. Here it is, for Saturday show. Skinwalkers are a unique form of supernatural event in that they are humans who commonly appear as canine creatures. Given that not much is known about skinwalkers or dogmen, how do you believe a witness could distinguish between a skinwalker and a dogman? Are there traits or behaviors that you believe could help identify one or the other? Do you believe it's possible that some dogman sightings could be skinwalkers misidentified? And the first response we got is from within. If confronted by either, I probably wouldn't have the presence of mind to distinguish between the two. Good point. Good point. Yeah, because whatever it is, it's huge and it's absolutely terrifying. Yeah, you probably don't stick around and wait and go, well, is that a dogman or is that a skinwalker? I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at here. Skinwalkers and dogmen all seem to be mean. I read that if you come across an outfit of clothes in a dogman zone, leave them alone and do not touch them. Skinwalkers will hide their human clothes / current outfit before they transform. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know about that within, but that seems to make sense, I guess. If they are a human being, are they normal human beings otherwise, and then they can transform, or are they some other kind of human being? I don't know, but that's interesting. All right, so thank you for that feedback. PP Rockin says, one could ask, it's alleged that the dogmen and skinwalkers both have some sort of ability in at least psychic communication, if not verbal. And since there are many accounts of people witnessing this phenomena, I would pose the question, why don't they ask them what they are? Yeah, that's a great question, but I think it probably gets down to the fact that when people see these things that aren't supposed to exist, even if you believe in them, once it's there, once it's in front of you, and you are extremely, very much in harm's way, you don't know if it's hungry, if it's going to tear you apart, or if it's just going to look at you, menace you a little, and then run away. You don't know. So would you have the presence of mind then to try to carry on a conversation, or would you be like, oh no, is it going to eat me? What's going on? So that's the conundrum of it. I mean, I can hardly blame people for not really deeply investigating those situations, because I'm sure they're incredibly intense and incredibly horrifying. But if someone did have that wherewithal to just ask questions and see if they could get answers, that would be amazing. And how many people are also familiar with psychic communications like that, or telepathy? How many people? Or even if it was verbal, so are you a person? What's going on here? It's like, why are you talking to me, you scum? And then it comes in the text. I don't know, but very interesting. So yeah, I mean, if somebody had the presence of mind to do that, that would be pretty amazing. Cryptic Chaos says, from what I've heard, which isn't a lot, skinwalkers look like their skin is unnatural and doesn't belong on them. Either it's too big or too small, or it looks like it's about to fall off. Their physique isn't all that great. It's scary looking, but it looks very skinny, and it's like it's starving, but it's strong. I feel like its power is more on the paranormal side due to the legends that, they used to use humans. They used to be humans who used magic. Dogmen are more natural in simple terms. Its look and abilities actually fit it. It's natural, unnatural born monster, if that makes sense. Same with its power. Of course, it's paranormal in a way, but its abilities don't come from magic. It's something it's born with, and just like any other animal. So to answer the question, yes, I do believe some encounters are misidentified, but I think that can happen with any cryptid encounter. Yeah, absolutely. there's no question. I'm sure that some Bigfoot reports are dogmen and some dogmen reports are Bigfoot. People just don't know. And the vocabulary that people have for these things, most normal people, lay people, I would say. I don't want to say normal because we're not abnormal, but we just have an interest in this and have probably a more robust vocabulary to articulate these things. But most people would be like, it's big and hairy, it's a Bigfoot. That's the only thing in their mind. It's like that little boy who got lost. He was lost for 3 days in the woods. And in that 3 days, he was found fine and safe. And he said that a bear took care of him. Well, this is a 2 or 3 year old kid. What vocabulary does he have to articulate what he experienced? It was just something big and hairy, so it was a bear. Now, I personally believe the kid was taken care of by potentially a female Bigfoot or something like that stumbled across him and decided to keep him safe from some, it's maternal instinct or something. But the kid didn't have a vocabulary to articulate anything other than bear. So it was a bear to that child. Was it really? I don't think so. But that's all he could share. So when people see something big and hairy, they're instantly the word search starts and they hit a dead end with one word in it, Bigfoot. And so that's just the convenient explanation. It's a Bigfoot. I saw a Bigfoot. Well, that's because it was big and hairy. It was a Bigfoot. And that may be all of it, but it's hard to say. But I'm sure there's tons of misidentifications between cryptids. I don't think people misidentify Bigfoot for bear as much as is alleged. I think it may happen from time to time, but I think most often when you see a bear, you're seeing a bear. There's not anything else that looks like a bear. It's got these ears sitting on top of its head that poke up. It doesn't have shoulders. It just has this body with a head mounted on it. They're plenty strong. They're plenty agile. They're plenty quick. But you're looking at a bear. But Bigfoot is very, very different. We've talked about the silhouettes on the show before. When you see a silhouette of a bear versus a Bigfoot, it's not even in scrub you would be able to identify that. I think. Pretty significantly quickly. So, but thank you for that response. That was very well thought out. Just Here and There 66 says, as I understand it, a skinwalker is a witch, male or female, which takes any animal skin, human, wolf, reptile. If they can get a skin from it, they can become it. So yes, a dogman can be a walker, a neighbor, Bigfoot, etc. The magic power is incredible, and it has been used for good and evil in the past, present. Getting a weird static in my headphones. And I'm sure it will continue into the future. That's weird. Doesn't happen often. You guys hearing that? Oh, it's actually coming from my speakers, which are all the way turned down. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's the volume is all the way down on my soundboard. You hear that? That never happens. Never. Once I have the volume down, they're down. You're not hearing it? Okay, it's not loud. It's just like that. So, I don't know. That's interesting. That doesn't usually happen. I've never heard that before while I'm doing the shows. So, yep, it's static in the back. Yep, that's exactly right. Just barely, yeah. For you guys, it's whatever's coming through the microphone, which is, this microphone is meant to pick up me. The sound reception is aimed at in front of the mic, not behind it, but you will get some ambient noise, obviously. Now it's stopped. Almost. Now it's in the headphones. Okay. Well, I don't know. Something staticky. But it's not showing up on Ghost Radar. So, all right, let's continue. Chucky Danger says, I think the antlers are a dead giveaway for a shapeshifter. I guess we'll continue on the other side. Sorry. I could have got through this, but I heard that static. So we'll be right back after the hour break. We'll pick up the rest of this and then get on to some more stuff here. So don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Caroline is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Well, there you have it, folks. Welcome back. We're into hour number 2 here already. My God. And we're still going through the question of the week. Sorry. That static kind of threw me because I've never heard that before. Generally speaking, my board is over here. It has monitor speakers that I use. They're professional studio monitor speakers, but I use them for just listening when I'm not doing shows. I don't wear headphones, except when I do shows or I'm really jamming music really loud. But for the most part, I just keep them on. But then when I do the shows, of course, I turn the volume down. Now, when I turn the volume down, I've never had these speakers make a sound. But it was loud enough of a static that I actually heard it through the earphone, and I couldn't figure out what I was hearing. And then it was such a strange note. Some of you heard it out there in the chat. It was very subtle for you because, again, my microphone is geared to pick me up. It's geared to aim this way and pick up sound from this way. It will. Oh, there's a dot. We got a yellow and a green. Someone's standing right next to me. Okay. Well, they're gone. Well, thanks for stopping. Good to see you. Kinda. So that was a couple things there. Yeah, thank you for the heads up, guys. But the static was so unusual because I never heard it do that. So, and it would be on the nights when I decide to do a live ghost radar as we're doing the show right here in the studio. Now, is it determinate? No. But it's at least suggestive that something anomalous has been picked up. I will tell you, just to give you a little bit of background on wireless technology, that there are universities that have developed systems that can use your wireless system in your house, and they can tell who's in what room and where in your house. It will give an actual map of your house by reading the signals and their returns, the signals and returns to the wireless devices, that those devices can actually be used to map the inside of your house and detect people and things within your space. So is it possible it could also detect EMF variations? Sure. That makes perfect sense. So there you go. I think there's something to it. I really do. Again, I don't suggest that it's evidence in and of itself, but it's suggestive of potential evidence. I would say that. So I would also urge you, if you're going to go out there and look for something like this, be extraordinarily careful, because most of the things out there today are gimmicks. They're jokes. They'll generate photos for you that, oh wow, I caught an apparition. Oh, it'll turn my phone camera into a FLIR. No, it won't. It's just a filter they throw on top of everything just to make it look good. So most of them are gimmicky and entertainment and such. Again, this one is about 12, 14 years old, and it was right when the whole push for ghost radars was being developed. So I've always loved this program, and I've never updated it, never done anything to it. And it works just as well today as it did the day I got it. So again, just a tool, but you be the judge. I'm not trying to suggest, yes, ghost radar is real, but it may detect EM anomalies that are not normal. And so, therefore, it is paranormal. But is it truly ghosts? We don't know. So, anyway, you approach all this so well. Thank you, Maggie. I just want to. I want to try new things with you guys and have something more interactive going on. And I thought, why don't we just run the ghost radar? That'd be fun. So, anyway, let's get back to the question of the week, talking about the differences between Dogman and Skinwalker, and could some Dogman sightings be misidentified Skinwalkers and vice versa so far. So we're on Chucky Dangerous' response. He says, I think the antlers are a dead giveaway for a shapeshifter. I've heard in the fringes that shapeshifters also lure and taunt people with their victims. With the voice, the last words of the shapeshifter's last victim, Dogman seems to skip to animalistic terror attacks. Yeah, I will say, yeah, I mean, antlers are not consistent, though, with Skinwalkers. That's not consistently a part of the attire. When they look like a wolf, they look like a wolf. When they look like a dog, they look like a dog. They don't have antlers on them. But I know the headdresses, some of the traditional headdresses that have been shown, show antlers. And, that certainly is a consideration. Perhaps, but yeah, I think you're right. I think that's it does seem that Skinwalker attacks are much more psychological, and Dogman's just in your face. It's just ferocious. It doesn't mean it's going to rip you up, but it just means that it has no trouble if it knows you're there going, you need to get the hell out now, and I'm going to scare you out, and they do. So. There's only one more, and that's from B. Mora, and it says each are individual creatures. And that's fair enough. Yeah, they are. What they are, we don't know, but they are unique and distinct. I would say that generally speaking, for me, the big giveaway would be the size. If something is 6 foot-ish, then it could be a toss-up. 6 foot or under, it's going to be a toss-up because generally speaking, the Skinwalkers don't usually grow enormous. Like, they seem to match kind of their body size with what they're turning into. Sometimes smaller, but never. I don't think I've heard of any that got enormous. Like they were big like a Skinwalker. Skinwalkers or Dogmen are like, 9-10 feet tall, like Bigfoot size. And I can't say I've ever heard any stories of people observing Skinwalkers where they became that big. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm just saying I haven't heard of it. So that would be my first barometer. It's like, well, what's bigger and what's smaller? How big is it? Well, is it in human range? Then it could be. I don't know. But again, I will say also that Skinwalkers, when they transform, they seem to transform completely, meaning that they have paws. They don't have, generally speaking, I don't know, I'm just going through the list of the few stories that I've been able to find of Skinwalkers, and I don't recall people observing wolves with opposable thumbs or deer with hands and stuff like that. Now, there is a phenomenon called not deer or deer people, and that's a whole different one. And that could be Skinwalkerish too, I don't know. That one is a real head scratcher. We'll get into that in some future shows. I've been stumbling across it. I've never heard the term not deer before Lon Strickler's Phantoms and Monsters site, but it's interesting. So once again, thank you everybody for your inputs. I will put a link into the chat on YouTube if you want to join and become a part of it. Then we'd love to have you over at the Discord. So by all means, we're getting new people from time to time over there. So thank you to everybody that's joining up and becoming a part of the conversations. Feel free, any of you over on Discord, post links, posts, when you're surfing the net, if you find an interview, you find a video on YouTube or something that you like, post it in there, share it with all of the community, because there's a lot of wonderful stuff over there. So by all means, please get involved. So yeah, it's just in the headphones now. So all right, so that's going to conclude the Discord questions of the week. I guess I should go over here and do that. All right, so now We are back into the show. And thank you to everybody that's taken part on our Discord. We've got an amazing community over there. It's much like the YouTube chat here. There's not quite all of you are over there. Not even maybe most of you are over there, but some of you are over there. And thank you for everybody that's been over there and sharing and taking part in conversations. I think it's a lot of fun. I like to go back and read them. If I've been away from it for a day or two, I go back and read all the different comments and stuff and check out some of the videos when I have time. So it's just really fun. So thank you to all of you who are putting effort over there in the Discord. That's been a lot of fun to see that grow and to see everybody's coming. Brent, did you see my post? What did you post? Where? Did I miss it? Oh, I guess we weren't done. Never mind. We're not done. ZX81 V2. Sorry about that. I thought I was already scrolled down. That's my mistake. There are a few cryptids with horns and antlers. Some strange cryptids in Australia. Wendigo, I do believe, has antlers. Yep. That is Wendigo. Well, Wendigo's kind of a tough one. ZX. That's it's a Wendigo is a lot of things. It's a creature. Looks like an emaciated deer kind of bipedal creature, like rotting and with its lips torn off. So you see it's this grimace, and it does have antlers, but it's also, but nothing appeared. It made a sound, unless it's right on top of me and I can't see it. So it could be right on top of me. It might be right in the middle. But so as I'm talking about Wendigo, that comes. So that's comforting. What was I saying? The other thing is it's a possessing spirit. It's not physical at all, and it possesses somebody and causes them to go mad and crave eating, and usually other people, like cannibalistic appetite that just can't be satiated. So it's a disgusting demonic type of thing as well. And there's some cryptids that look like a Bigfoot with antlers on its head that some people call a Wendigo. So there's lots of ideas out there. I think Android researched this quite a bit, and he said that, most of it is just in the traditional First Nations is referred to as like a possessing spirit. It's not really a creature. And I suppose that's probably true. I don't know if that's exclusively true, but I think generally speaking, maybe it depends on the tribes that are talking about it. But I know there's a few ideas of what a Wendigo is out there. So next up is K-Love. Back in October 2018 in Baltimore, Maryland, my husband and I attended an Alien Con, and we sat in on a conference with Emery Smith, who talked about seeing a dog man escape a cemented room in an underground military laboratory. This thing was powerful enough to claw its way out. He claims it was a secret government project experimenting with a new fighting weapon, these dog/human-like creatures. Could it be possible that Bigelow captured a skinwalker creature at the Skinwalker Ranch and turned it over to the military? Also, what was this? Why is there a big gap? I don't know. Also, has anyone heard recently of border agents and several illegals getting attacked by a dogman creature in the southern border? Well, there's a long history apparently of border agents seeing something like dogmen down there. That's not anything new or recent. I'm not aware of any recent accounts though, but there certainly could be. And then we'll close it off with Rachel, our very own mod, here on YouTube as well. But from what I've heard in witness reports is that skinwalkers have some type of malformation to their form. Dogman appears as an extremely muscular wolf-human hybrid. Dogman may be a skinwalker that has perfected shapeshifting, but it seems they are a separate entity unto themselves. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, I don't mean to imply that they are one and the same, but I just think that sometimes witnesses see something and they only have a limited vocabulary to describe it. So if they know the term skinwalker, I saw a skinwalker. But they don't really familiar with the dogman. If they're familiar with dogman, I saw a dogman. It looked like a dog, and it was stood upright. And they could be right too. I mean, it's not that they have to be mistaken, but it's just I'm sure it comes up. And as I said before, I just don't think people have a robust vocabulary. Most people don't have a robust cryptozoological vocabulary to be able to articulate what they saw. So they just grab onto the one thing they may know about. So I think that's interesting. But thank you everybody for your participation in these remarks. I appreciate it a bunch. But we're going to close it up now. Did someone say Cryptid Corner? Because, my God, we're getting there, aren't we? Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get through. Well, we don't have to get through it, but we're going to get through some of it. We're at about 8:16, so I think I could get into some of this stuff because I got several articles I'd like to read to you guys tonight. This one I think is too long. We'll have to hit this one after the break. Well, I guess if it's 16, we probably could do it. From Sasquatch Chronicles blog, this is... Oh, shoot, I didn't turn it off. It's going to come up with question of the week again. My apologies. I'll turn that off now. There we go. All right, so this is the next thing we're going to cover here on the show. We're going to go right to the Cryptid Corner here because we're talking about creatures and things. It's a good lead off from the question of the week. So let's continue. Sasquatch Chronicles blog, sasquatchchronicles.com. February 18th, I know what I saw. A listener writes, I grew up in a very rural area of York County, Pennsylvania, along the Susquehanna River. If you look it up, it's in an area between New Bridgeville and Green Branch. The river was less than a mile from where I lived. I remember the season was fall, but not sure the exact month. Still warm enough to not wear a coat. My two older cousins and I had spent most of the day outside playing in my yard and wooded area between our properties. Oh, thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Appreciate it. She loves the little ghost detector. Make it a feature? Well, we could. It could. I'm leaving it up to you guys. If you like it, we can certainly do it going forward. A little additional information. The area where we lived was about 4 to 5 miles off the main road. Our actual road was a single car width, unpaved dirt road in the hills along the river. My mom and I lived on about 2 acres of land, and there was about 3 or 4 acres of wooded land between my mother's home and her brother's home, my cousin's father. We used to walk through those woods and to and from each other's houses instead of walking on the road. At the back edge of our property was more wooded area that was about a quarter of a football lengths on the other side of what was the farm property that was also owned the woods between my mom and uncle's property. They farmed corn. It was getting later on the day, and we had been called in for dinner. I'd gotten a toy or some article at the back edge of our property beside our lawn. I had forgotten a toy. Okay. Lawn shed that was sent out to get it. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. I remember walking down and standing next to the shed. I had to pee, and as most of us who grew up in the country did, we just went ahead and went beside the shed. As I'm fixing myself, I can remember feeling like I was being watched. It was this weird feeling as a kid. I didn't understand. I was absolutely terrified and couldn't move. I had no idea what was happening to me, and I can only remember feeling like my feet were frozen to the ground and my breathing was forced to slow down as if it was in slow motion. I looked up from the ground, and on the other side of the wooded area along the cornfield, I saw this huge brownish red furry giant walking. It was the biggest damn thing I had ever seen. I wanted to scream, but I was absolutely frozen with fear. As I focused in, I noticed it was looking at me. It felt like that being was staring into my soul. It was so focused on me. It was like it could see me so clearly, and that it could see the different flecks of color in my eyes. It just kept walking, and it was silent. There was no noise whatsoever as it came along the woods, that wood's edge. It just kept walking forward with its head turned to the left to look at me. I can remember being so honed in on him that I could see that it was covered in hair. It looked like coarse, long 3/4 inch hair. Its arms were abnormally long and hung at its sides, and its eyes were super round and somewhat large and resembled the eyes of a pug. As it approached, out of nowhere, it just stopped. It stared at me. Neither of us moved. We both were just frozen. If I had not just went pee, I know damn well I would have peed myself right then and there. The other odd thing, I recall being terrified of the situation because I didn't know what this thing was and because of how big it was, but I wasn't afraid of the creature itself. It's one of the most conflicting feelings I've ever felt. We stood there and stared at each other for what felt like a lifetime. I swear to you, we had some sort of conversation with our eyes. At some point, I remember it making a huffing sound like it had smelled something in the air. Its head kind of went backwards and it made this sound. Its eyes stayed focused on me, and I remember seeing the whites of its teeth when it tilted its head backwards as the mouth was partly open. As an adult, I can tell you its body language was relaxed. It wasn't fearful of me. It also didn't appear aggressive either. The last moments I remember, there seemed to be an acknowledgement from it, as if it knew I was no threat to it and that it knew that I was a kid. I swear to God, I never once felt threatened by this creature. The only time I did get fearful was when I heard my mom yell my name from the front door. I have no idea how long it had been, but I know it was getting darker. When she yelled, I could tell this creature was spooked and without hesitation turned 180 degrees. And with several huge steps, it was gone. It didn't resemble a run, but a very quick long stride. It was so odd because as it moved away from me, it was again silent. It was gone so fast, it was just mind-boggling. My mom yelled my name again, and it was like my feet became unfrozen, and I was finally able to return to my breathing, to normal. I took off running to the front door, and when I got there, Mom asked, "What the hell's wrong with you? Are you okay? Say something, Danny." I couldn't speak. I had no idea how to articulate what I just saw. I remember trying to talk, and I couldn't. I finally blurted out, "I saw a monster. I saw a monster." My mom just kept telling me to calm down. I remember her touching me, and it was the first time I realized I was soaked with sweat. I was dripping wet. She asked me what I saw, and I kept telling her. She just kept telling me my eyes were playing tricks on me and that I probably saw a bear or a buck or something else. She told me I'd be fine and that monster don't exist. For weeks, I remember telling her and my cousins over and over what I saw. At one point, my mom told me to stop telling people because they were going to take me away. She told me that I didn't know what I saw and that people were going to think that I had something wrong with me. Well, I stopped talking about it, but I refused to walk through those woods. I absolutely would not stay outside past dark, and I would not play out back. I only ever played in the front yard, directly in front of the front door. I can tell you as a 40-year-old man, I know what I saw. I never thought I was confused. I never questioned it. When I've heard about Sasquatch throughout my life, I just chuckle to myself and think, if people only knew. If people only freaking truly knew. I also know I've never felt threatened by this creature. I've never questioned if I was in jeopardy. I now laugh a little. I often wish I'd see another one. Well, thanks for the time. Just wanted to share. That's really crazy. Very cool. And it's a cool sighting because there was never any malice. There was never any intimidation whatsoever. I mean, other than the fact that this kid saw this enormous 8-9 foot creature walking silently without making a noise whatsoever. It was there and then it was gone. That's pretty amazing. You got to wonder. I mean, had nobody ever seen anything there? Was this kid the only one? I don't think so. I just think most often people don't talk about it. I think there's so many sightings out there people don't discuss because maybe they don't feel they can, or maybe they feel they can more now than before. But yeah, those kind of things are absolutely frightening. But I'm glad this kid had a positive experience. This man had a positive experience as a child. I think that most encounters with them seem very benign, and That's wonderful. I don't think they go out of their way to hurt people for the most part. I'm not saying ever, but for the most part, I think that they have hurt people. I think that people have been hurt by them, but we don't know the whole story, the logistics, what happened in those cases, how are they different. But maybe it has to do more with the fact that these are incredibly, bright creatures, and they probably have incredibly diverse personalities. There are people around that would just as soon punch you as look at you. And there's also people that would bend over backwards to help you change a tire, so, and they all live in our neighborhoods, in our communities, so we have those whole spectrums of people that we encounter. So maybe the same is true for Bigfoot. Maybe there's a huge spectrum that they deal with. Maybe there's the jerkfoots. The jerkfoots. There's Bigfoot and there's jerkfoots. I don't know. Maybe. You never know. But a brilliant story. So, did we hit break? What the hell happened? Looks like it went to break. Why isn't that working? Okay, a lot of weirdness in the studio tonight. Oh, Skype shut down. Skype absolutely shut down. That has never happened either. My program connecting me to the TFR and to the phones shut down. It's not working. Let me get this reconnected, and we'll be back for the last half hour of the show. Weird night. Yeah, let's try the ghost app. That'll be great. Oops. That's a first, ladies and gentlemen. That is a first. That's never happened ever. The only other time we got knocked, I didn't get knocked off the air though, just Skype, one application. I was saying in the chat, remember the last thing that the ghost radar detected, that sound, and I didn't see a dot on the radar. I was like, well, I don't see a dot unless it's right on top of me. Well, right next to my leg is where my computer tower is. And then my Skype disconnected. So is that paranormal? I don't know. Maybe. It seems very coincidental that, I've never experienced that before. I've never had Skype shut itself off. There's no explanation for that in my mind because I've been doing this for 7 years. And whether or not you like Skype, it's up to you. I mean, there's sometimes I absolutely abhor it and other times I love it. But one thing it's always done is kept working. I've lost calls before. I've lost connections before. That's not unusual. But I've never had the application itself just poop the bed, So let's use the Ghost app. That'll be fun. Well, it's all right. That's what we're in this for, right? No, I actually don't mind stuff like this. In fact, I like the idea that things are happening because as I've said for years doing this show, I think we do call these things to us in a sense. I've gotten lots of emails from listeners like, I never had any experiences. Then I started listening to your show and then this picture keeps leaping off the wall and stuff like that. I've gotten emails like that where listeners are telling me that because they're listening to the show, they have weird things happen sometimes. And I think that's, maybe it's someone there in their neck of the woods listening too. And they're going, yeah, we're here. See, we're here. Maybe they want recognition. I think sometimes these earthbound spirits, what they really kind of want is to be acknowledged, because it's got to be a bit maddening to be in a situation where nobody knows you're there. So I don't know. I can't say it's paranormal, but again, that's another anomaly for tonight. The static, the Skype disconnecting. That's two. We got a call though. Let's see what's going on. And this is from area code 423. Sorry. Don't have my glasses on. 423.
Yes, 423. This is Fabian Trahan of Tri-10 Paranormal. How you doing?
Oh, doing good, Fabian. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. I'm just fascinated with this app that you're reviewing there.
Yeah. This is one I've had for ages. I had it probably 10 or 12 years ago when these apps first started coming out, and it's called X Paranormal Detector, and it still works.
Mm-hmm.
Still works. Seems to be even with the newer versions of Windows, it's still functioning. So I'm pretty pleased about that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm pretty interested in that. I'm actually a developer on the side. I don't make anything that, even by today's standards, that's pretty dynamic. But I made a few things back in the past, but nothing as dynamic as that. It just looks really interesting. It looks tasty. Looks like something I wouldn't mind throwing an old laptop out and checking out during an investigation.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. I mean, I really like it. I've had a lot of fun with it. Again, I don't know if, like with things like this, again, the magnetometers using with the wireless technology have a very narrow band. They have a very narrow detection range, but they do allegedly detect EMF anomalies. And so that's not debated. But so I think there really is something to these. But I don't think that in and of themselves, they should be considered proof. But I think that they can be considered a tool to suggest some anomaly that you should research further. So. But yeah, I've been really happy with it, and I have a lot of fun with it. I haven't touched it in years, and I was just sitting here tonight going, I've been trying to think of new things to do on the shows just to keep it interesting and fun. And so I thought, well, let's do the ghost radar.
It's interesting. I don't get to catch all of them, but I just want to give a shout out to Paranormal Portal. I think you do some really great stuff. When I do rewatch them, I really enjoy your content, and I appreciate you still pushing along and plugging it through. You're awesome.
Well, thank you, brother, and thank you for calling in. If you email me, I'll plug you in on this app, and you can check it out yourself, okay?
I sure will, and I just wanted to say one more thing. A lot of people claim that, this is a thing in the paranormal where, you get so much ego and opinionated people,
Yeah.
in other words, and they'll say, well, why would you use phone apps? That those wouldn't work. And when you start closing your mind, I believe that's your worst enemy when you're trying to do research. You should have an open mind and
Right.
embrace all types of experiments. And I don't see why this wouldn't be a potential way to garner some of the good captures or information coming from what might be paranormal in a location or something. But anyway, I appreciate your time, Brett.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
I got your name right, Brent.
I appreciate
I said Brent Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Brent Thomas together real fast is Brett. Okay.
Well, thank you for calling
All right.
in.
Well, hey, you yes, sir. Thank you, and you're doing a great job. You have a good night.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Good night. That's pretty cool. Actually, that's very interesting. I hope you do reach out via email to me, Fabian, because I'd like to talk to you a little more going forward. And I'll tell you what's going on when you email me. Okay. There's some things I got in development that, just judging from your location, I saw it on the caller ID. I'm not going to share it, but it may prove to be fortuitous that our paths have crossed. So email me, please, at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'd like to, I'll plug you in on this app, and you can check it out, as well as some other thoughts and ideas. So thank you, though, for reaching out. It's great to meet you guys when you call. I appreciate that a bunch. And I appreciate the kind words. I don't know. I do the best I can. Is my show great? I don't know. I'm giving you the greatest show I know how, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a great show. But I really am thrilled when I hear those nice kind words, because it's very supportive. I mean, this is obviously a dream that I'm doing. I'm living my dream doing this show, and knowing that all of you guys out there are listening and taking part in the chat community and the live shows, as well as the podcasts. I mean, that is just the greatest honor of all. So when I get a chance to meet you guys, whether through phone calls to the show, or if I've met some of you at conferences I've been at, that's amazing. And I really do love that part of this. I'm just trying to narrow down some conferences for this year. When we get those narrowed down, I'll let you guys know where and when that I'm going to be. And it would be great if you're in the neck of the woods, if you come in and say hi. It'd be really fun to meet some of you guys. So, but yeah, thank you. That's wonderful. So, continuing with our cryptid corner. Wonder if I should. I'll just let it be. I'll let it be environmental. I'll just let it be environmental. If something stops in, hopefully the ghost radar will detect it, and we'll find out. But again, does it detect everything? No. It's not a broadband scanner. It's just a very narrow bandwidth that it scans, but could be something. We get another call. So let's get to this. This is area code 208. You're on the air. Hello?
What the hell?
What the hell?
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi, Brent.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, it's Birdie Cuda.
Oh, hey, Birdie Cuda. Good to hear from you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I rode in with the Honda Bar a while ago.
You did what?
I wrote in that email with the Honda Bar a while ago.
Oh, yeah. You emailed me? Okay. Yeah, I get a ton of emails, so I'm sorry if I overlooked that and didn't respond. Did I respond?
Yeah, you responded.
Okay.
I was,
I'm sorry. I just feel bad if I ever miss things like that, so I just had to throw that out there. So, yeah, what's going on tonight, brother?
not much. Just hanging out, having a couple of beers. I wanted to maybe regale you with the story of
Please.
working at a haunted high school.
Awesome. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, please.
So this is about 20 years back. I get a job at the high school that I used to go to, and it's notoriously haunted.
Mm.
And I was supposed to meet up with the area guy. He runs all the schools around town or whatever. And, first day, I go in there and I'm walking around and he's like, meet me down in the basement. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, getting the tour. I'm like, I already know this. Because I went here and he's like, all right, do you know about this place? I'm like, that's haunted. And he's like, yeah. Do me a favor and don't quit on me. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
He's like, I've lost 2 guys in a month.
Ooh.
They ran out of here, scared out of their minds.
Wow.
I'm like, are you saying, like, I've heard stories from everywhere that this place is haunted.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, let me show you something. He takes me to this little room, and back then, the first floor wasn't the first floor. The first floor was the basement.
Oh.
And he takes me to this little room, and he shows me these stairs. The school was burnt down before,
Oh.
and he just rebuilt. So, he's like, yeah, well, there's these little stairs, and and this door that's behind him. Oh my God, I'm fucking this up so bad. So he's like, somebody was cleaning in this room and turn around, and there's this door with a glass chain window. He's like, this dude was cleaning this room, and he turns around and he sees a old lady's face staring back at him through his door. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm fucking this up so bad.
Oh, it's okay. Try not to swear if you would, though.
Oh, yeah, okay. And, okay, one time I'm cleaning the 3rd floor science part of the building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sweeping up. I get a pile of dust, and I bend down, and I catch movement out of the corner of my eye.
Ooh.
And I see a lady. I see this figure of a lady come out of the library.
Oh, wow.
Full blown, and she's coming at me, and she's floating. Like, I don't hear any footsteps or anything, but I can see a lady with old school, old timey dress.
Okay.
I'm floating down the hallway, and we meet eyes, and it's like I wasn't supposed to see what she was doing. Like, she would just come down the hall, sees me, we catch eyes, and she turns and goes right through a solid wooden door that goes into a classroom.
Uh-oh.
It was a weird... Yeah.
That's freaky.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the classics. Doors slam, toilets flush by themselves,
Oh, no.
stuff like that. But seeing a woman with an old-timey dress come floating down the halls, and I'm expecting to hear footsteps, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a custodian, janitor, or whatever, you expect to see people get lost or whatever.
Sure.
But this thing was floating towards me.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, I expect to hear footsteps. No footsteps. And I'm like, by the time it hits me, like, no footsteps. She sees me, I see her, and she turns and goes right into a classroom through a solid wood door. And whoop, right through it.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, no, not today. Nope, not today.
Did you get the feeling that she was avoiding you? Like she saw you and went, oh, no, I got to go this other way now. Like it was a reaction to seeing you?
That's exactly what I thought. Like I caught her doing something that she wasn't supposed to do.
Was she an older woman? Like an adult age?
No.
Or a child?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It was just like a shadow of a person.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Wow.
So it's the weirdest thing. Like, it was so quick. Like maybe 3 seconds. I was just like, before you could say, holy, she went through the door, and I went, oh, I'm done.
Did you quit?
I threw everything. Huh?
Did you quit?
No, I didn't quit.
Oh, okay,
no.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay.
No, there was a lot more weird that happened. So I put everything down. I went down the stairs, fast walked out the door, found my boss. I'm like, I am not going back in there unless somebody goes back in there with me. They're like, why? What happened? I'm like, I told them, like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. I'm like,
oh,
really? I'm like, oh yeah, and it gets reported all the time. And like, we are the janitors that the company I work for. We were hired to clean the building, and then there was district janitors. And the district janitor's like, oh, yeah, that happens all the time. And I'm like, really? Wow. Like, yeah. People quit all the time. They see that stuff, and they just drop their shit and run.
Oh, no.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Okay.
So, another one. You want to hear the other one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, another one. It was another building that was detached from the main building, and we're finishing up cleaning. Me and a friend of mine, best friend of mine, knowing each other all our lives. And she's like, I'm going to go outside and smoke. So I'm like, all right, cool. So she leaves. I'm trying to quit smoking at the time. So she leaves, and I can hear her get her coat and her purse and stuff, and I can hear her go through the door. You know what a crash door is, right? That bar that goes across the door.
Yep.
So I can hear her hit that crash door and go outside. And I can hear it slam behind her. So I know I'm all by myself.
Okay.
And I think I'm all by myself. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish mopping up these stairs, whatever. And I'm mopping up the stairs. And I hear a voice say, Kelly! And it sounds like her.
Wow.
I hear Kelly. And I'm like, what? And let it go for a second. And I hear, Kelly, where are you? And it sounds like her.
Oh, no.
And I go, I'm over here. And then wait for a second, I hear, Kelly, where are you? And I'm like, oh, I am done. And, well, I hear her say, Kelly, where are you? And I'm like, nope.
Oh, man.
And I go and I open the closet and I check. So I know if she came back in the building, she had this is like winter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know she would have to drop her coat off or whatever.
Right.
And I look in the closet and it's completely empty. And I'm like, okay. And I look outside and I see her and everybody else at the designated smoking spot. And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Wow.
And I go and I go and I grab her stuff, and I grab her stuff out of the closet, and I go fast walking out there. Like, I grab it, and I'm like, oh, no, not today. Nope, not today. And I crash out there, and there's some old timers that have been there like forever, and they've heard stories. They know, everything, and they see a 6 foot tall big man come out there with a girl's coat and a purse swinging towards them, and they're like, what did you see? And I'm like, I didn't hear anything. I heard you.
Wow.
I heard you call my name and ask me where I was.
Oh, creepy.
And one of the janitors like, oh yeah, I hear that all the time. I'm like, you heard that all the time.
Isn't that amazing?
I just shrugged it off. I'm like, how do you not freak out from that?
Right. That's amazing to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, that's just Tuesday. Because those are amazing events. That's incredible.
I mean, like, these janitors were hard, I guess. They're hardcore. They're just like, we see those all the time. I don't know what you're boobing about, you big boob. And I'm like, I'm 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds. Someone calls my name. It sounds like my friend down the hall.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible, Bertie. Yeah. That's amazing. And by all means, anytime you want to share some more of it, just call in. I'll be waiting to hear from you, brother. But great stories. Thank you for sharing them tonight.
You're welcome. I got another one.
Oh, do you?
A few of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to write them down, I don't know if you're a writer or not, but I'd be happy to share them on the podcast as well. Or if you'd want to try to be a guest on the podcast, we could try to have you on and you can share all of them.
I will do that.
All right, brother. Well, just email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and I'll watch for your email again, brother.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, Bertie. Good to talk to you.
All right. Bye.
Good night. Wow. That's amazing. See, I don't know how you get to the point. Now, I've lived in haunted houses and the activity happened. It was never constant, even in this house. It's never constant. It's just sometimes. Sometimes something happens that I can't explain. Sometimes in many of the houses I've lived, things happen that I couldn't explain, but most often it was just our house. But a place like that is so charged and so active with things going on that people just get conditioned to them. And I think that's really cool. My hat goes off to those staff. That's like, oh yeah, I've heard that. Sure. Oh, I saw that. It's you're so conditioned to it that it's just another part of your day. And the good news is nobody's gotten hurt. And I think that's the big thing. It's like whatever's going on there, it seems benign. It seems not threatening, not trying to, hurt or tear people apart or anything. So that's a good thing. And dark hauntings, of course, those are a whole different story. But for whatever reason, that school just seems like a busy place, but not necessarily a negative place. So that's cool. I don't know, boy. I guess we're literally down to about 30 seconds left of the show. So we've made it through. I hope you guys like the Ghost Radar. Please let me know what you think. Would you like to see most of the Ghost Radar on these shows or more of it on every show that we do live? Would you like to see that as part of what we're doing? I think it's kind of interesting. Again, I'm a little hesitant because, actively researching a space you're in can be kind of a permission. And I don't want to grant permission for things to come and go from my home actively, but I guess I can always cleanse and clear afterwards too. But just kind of interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed that new element. If you want to see it, stick around, leave me comments. Let me know if you'd like to see more of the Ghost Radar. But some weird stuff happened tonight, folks. Stuff, again, things I've never experienced before. The sound, the staticky sound in the speakers that are turned down and off, and the Skype disconnecting itself. Now, technology can sometimes do that, but you be the judge. So, all right, guys, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. See you Wednesday for the next show. Good night, everybody.
This is iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio makes you want to move.